Okay, so we are doing a recap of the law of supply and demand in managerial economics. Right? Same principles as with microeconomics. Nothing has changed. Everything is the same. All right. Let me just do this. Yes. So remember the law of demand, which says there is an inverse relationship between price and the quantity demanded of goods. Okay. Meaning, if price goes up, we buy less. If price goes down, we buy more. Okay, so law of demand, there there is a negative relationship between price and quantity demanded. All right. Quantity demanded, remember, is just how much of the quantity of goods you buy. Okay. Ceteris paribus, holding other things constant. Okay. So in managerial economics, when you're trying to determine, like, okay, should we raise the price of our goods? If we raise the price of our goods, we know that customers are going to buy less of our goods. If we lower the price of our goods, customers are going to buy more of our goods. Okay, so that's one way we apply the law of demand in managerial economics. All right. So we must remember this graph too. Okay, supply and demand graph. So we've got price here and quantity demanded. Okay. And this negative relationship is illustrated like this. Okay. Yes. All right. And with this graph, we must remember the difference between change in quantity demanded and change in demand. Okay. Because these theories these are going to be helpful here. Okay. So change in quantity demanded is just represented by a movement along the demand curve. Okay, let's say, for example, all right, the price of, let's say, bread is 10 kwacha. So you're going to be able to buy at 10 kwacha, you're able to buy maybe, let's say, 5 loaves of bread for the household, right? Now, if the price of bread increases from 10 kwacha to 15 kwacha, bread becomes more expensive to you and you're going to buy lesser bread. Okay, so maybe you now be buying 2 loaves of bread. All right. So this change in quantity demanded. Okay, we started here at point A. Bread was 10 kwacha. We're buying 5 loaves of bread. Okay, now the price of bread has increased to 15 kwacha. All right, so we're buying 2 loaves of bread. So this movement along the demand curve is what we call change in quantity demanded. All right. And we've seen here the inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. All right. Then you have also got change in demand. Okay, change in demand. Now, this is where the other factors affect the quantity demanded. All right, apart from price. Apart from price, the other factors that can affect quantity demanded. All right, so here we say change in demand. All right, so this is the one which is represented by the shifts in the demand curve. All right, so here we have price and here we have quantity demanded. All right, yes, so we have the demand curve like this, downward sloping. All right, So now we need to know what are these factors that cause these changes in demand, which are not price. Okay. The first factor, because in managerial economics, you're putting yourself in the position of the business. All right. So you have to also know about these factors. If you're selling different goods and services, if you're selling certain goods or offering certain services, okay, you have to know about these factors that can affect the quantity demanded for your good. Okay, so market size is the first one. Okay, which is basically number of customers. Number of customers. Okay. The more customers, the more demand. The less customers, the less the demand. Okay, so that is the first one, market size, or number of customers. So if the number of customers grows, okay, your demand curve is going to shift. Let's say, for example, you're a business and you're selling certain good. Okay, the price of this good you're selling at is, let's say, it's 100 kwacha. Okay, so at 100 kwacha, you're able to sell maybe 1,000 units of this good. Okay, but then let's say your market size increases. Okay, you've opened up a new store in another location. So you've got now new customers. So what's going to happen is your demand curve is going to shift like this. All right. You haven't changed the price of the good. Okay. But you have got more customers. Okay. So you find with more customers, it means you need to sell more units. So you find quantity demanded now doubles to 2,000 units. Okay. And the opposite is true. If your market size drops, demand for your good is going to drop. So as you can see here, this that I've illustrated is an increase in demand. Okay, this is an increase in demand. All right. The curve shifts to the right. That's an increase in demand. Right. Another factor that affects the demand for uh, a good apart from price is income levels. Okay. The higher the income levels of the citizens or the people within the area, the higher the income levels, the more the demand. The lower the income levels, the lower the demand. Okay. So even here, for example, in this same illustration here, where you're selling a good at 100 kwacha and 1,000 units are being bought of this good. Now, let's say in that same area where you're selling this good, okay, people's income doubles. Okay, there's a boom in the economy, so people are getting more money now. So let's say their income levels increase. It means if one person was able to buy one of these goods, if the income has increased, they can buy two. Okay, so it means if the income level is double, theoretically in this example, it means also the quantity demanded is going to double because people are buying now double the amount. Okay. So if you have more income, you buy more of a certain good. Okay. If you have less income, you're going to buy less. Okay. Number three is uh, price of related goods. Okay. This is where we have substitutes and complementary goods. Okay. So substitute goods can be substituted or exchanged for another good. goods that can be exchanged for another good. Okay. Yes. And then complementary goods. Goods used together. Okay. Basically, these goods are used as a pair. Okay. Now here, this is where you need to pay a bit more of attention because you are going to be questioned a lot on these ones. Let's start with substitute goods. Okay. Let's say we have Coca-Cola and Pepsi here. Pepsi, Coca-Cola. Okay. Right now, they're priced at the same amount, 5 kwacha, 5 kwacha, 5 kwacha here, 5 kwacha here. Okay. Quantity demanded, 100 units here, 100 units. Okay. So both of these goods are substitutes of each other. Okay. You can substitute Coca-Cola for Pepsi, or you can substitute Pepsi for Coca-Cola. They can be interexchanged. Now, with substitute goods, okay, if let's say for example the price of Pepsi rises from 5 kwacha to 10 kwacha, it doubles. The price of Pepsi doubles from 5 kwacha to 10 kwacha. Okay, you'll find Pepsi becomes more expensive than Coca-Cola. So people buy less Pepsi. Okay, they'll start buying less Pepsi because it become more expensive. So what if they are buying more Pepsi? I mean, if they buy less Pepsi, it means they've substituted it with Coca-Cola. So look at what happened to the demand curve for Coca-Cola. The demand curve for Coca-Cola is going to increase. Okay, because people have substituted it with they have substituted Pepsi with this drink. Okay. Yes. So as we can see here, there's a negative relationship here. Okay. There is a negative relationship here. When the price of Pepsi went up, okay. Oh, there's actually sorry, I meant a positive relationship here. When the price of Pepsi went up, the quantity demanded of Coca-Cola went up. Listen. So this is like a positive relationship. If the price of Pepsi dropped, okay, let's say we started here again at 5 kwacha, the price of Pepsi now drops to 2 kwacha. It means Pepsi is cheaper than Coca-Cola now, assuming the price of Coca-Cola stays the same. Pepsi is cheap. So what do? They're going to substitute Coca-Cola with Pepsi and buy more Pepsi. So you're going to find people are buying more Pepsi. Okay, the quantity has increased. Quantity demanded for Pepsi has increased because people are buying more. So what happened to the demand curve of Coca-Cola? The demand curve of Coca-Cola is going to go down. If we say we started here again at 5 kwacha, Coca-Cola is still at 5 kwacha. If we started here at D1, since people are buying more Pepsi, they'll stop buying Coca-Cola. So demand for Coca-Cola is going to drop, okay, to 50 units. So as we can see, the price of Pepsi went down. The quantity demanded of Coca-Cola also went down. So with substitutes, there is a positive relationship. Okay. So whenever you see in a demand function, like for example, you'll be given multivariable demand functions here in managerial economics. Also in microeconomics, you find them. Okay. But let's say, for example, if the demand for a good here, QA, demand for this good, let's say 10 minus 2 PA plus 2 PB. And then they ask you, what is the relationship between good A and good B? Are they substitutes or are they complementary? One thing you know, since we illustrated there in our here, we illustrated that there is a positive relationship between the price of the substitute good and the quantity demanded of the other good. All right, and the price goes up for one good, quantity demanded will go up for the other good. If the price goes down for one good, the quantity demanded will go down for the other good. Right, so there's a positive relationship for the substitute goods. So here, since we've seen a plus sign here, okay, you know that good B and A are substitutes. Because of this plus sign, you say, oh, good A and B are substitute goods. Okay, because if we look at the relationship between the quantity of good A and the price of good B, if we forget everything else, look at the quantity of good A and the price of good B. If the price of good B goes up, it means people buy less of good B. And then they'll buy more, they'll substitute good B with good A, meaning quantity demanded for good A is going to go up. So in a demand equation, if you see a positive sign, just know they are substitute goods. Okay? See a positive sign for the price of another good. Then, then now we're going to look at complementary goods. Okay, goods that are used together. Okay, let's say for example, um, a phone and a SIM card. Okay, phone and SIM cards are used together. Okay, phone and a SIM card, they're used together. Okay, so let's say these are the demand curves for both goods, right? Let's say the price of phones here. Let's say in this example here, there's one type of phone, and we know nowadays every time you buy a phone, it's very necessary that you. Oh, I was talking about. Sorry, wanted to talk about screen protectors. But yeah, phone and SIM cards. Every time you buy a phone, you always need a SIM card. Okay, you can't use one without the other. Okay, or if you want to use one without the other, it will be of less value. So let's say the price of phones. There's one type of phone, and it's going at 100 kwacha. Okay, and the quantity bought is 500 units of these phones. Then let's say SIM cards are costing 10 kwacha. Let's say there's also 500 units bought of SIM cards. If the price of phones go up, okay, so phone and SIM cards are complementary to each other. The phone and the SIM card complementary to each other. They are used together. If the price of the phone goes up from 100 kwacha to 150 kwacha here, okay, you find the phone has become expensive, so people buy less phones. Okay. Now, if people are buying less phones, it means what's going to be happening to the SIM cards? People buy less SIM cards. Okay, because if you can't buy a phone, what's the purpose of the SIM card? So you find quantity demanded for there will be a shift in the demand curve for SIM cards from here, point A here to point B here. Okay, people start buying less SIM cards. Okay, because people are buying, no one's buying any more phones, so even SIM cards, the sales are going to drop. Okay, so here we saw the price of one good went up and the quantity demanded of the other good went down. So with complementary goods, there is an inverse relationship between the price and quantity. Okay. If the price of phones went down in this scenario here, it means people will buy more phones. As these people buy more phones, they'll buy more SIM cards, and you find quantity of SIM cards is going to go up. Okay. So with complementary goods, if you in your demand function, if You see, let's say for example, as a negative sign now in your demand function here, instead of plus, it's minus. Okay, minus now here means if the price of good B goes up, people buy less of good B and won't need to buy any of good A. Okay, so it means quantity demanded of good A is going to go down. So if you see a negative sign in the demand function, just know that the two goods there are complementary. Okay, they are complementary. Yes. Then other factors that affect demand apart from price, we said um, consumer tastes and preferences. What is basically trending? Okay, if especially in the fashion world, if you see a certain type of fashion comes out, a new type of jeans, a new type of shoe, demand for such goods is going to thing is going to increase. Why? Because it's something that's trending. So people are going to be buying more of those goods. Okay. Yes. But if something goes out of fashion, okay, or it's no longer trending, people are not buying that good. Okay. And demand for that good is going to drop. Okay. So yes, consumer tastes and preferences. For example, like the Walkman. Right now, there are better gadgets. So people will prefer what the gadgets that are now to a Walkman. No one wants to buy a Walkman anymore. So we find demand for Walkman is even non-existent. Maybe there may be few, very few people, but still more even demand is so is I can say it's basically non-existent for Walkmans. Even is it these the DVDs and VCDs? There's now streaming. People will prefer streaming than buying a you go to the shop, buy a CD for a movie, come back. No, you can all do all of this online. There's Netflix. Okay. Yes. So consumer tastes and preferences is another factor that affects demand. And then also consumer expectations. If we expect prices to increase, we buy more of the good now when it's cheaper. So demand also grows. Okay. So here consumer expectations. Okay. When we expect the price of a good to go up, we buy more because it's cheap now. So demand of that good is going to increase. We see whenever fuel is about to increase, people are going to go to the gas stations to go and buy as much fuel as they can at a cheaper price. So at that instant there, demand for fuel has grown because people are buying it in they will even be buying in bulk because they want to buy it at a cheaper price. But when we expect prices to drop, the opposite happens. We are going to save our money because we know the price is going to be cheaper soon. So why buy the good when it's expensive when you can wait for the price to drop? All right. So people are going to hold their money. Demand for that good is going to drop because why? People are waiting for the price to drop. Okay. So people will ease on the spending of that good until the price drops because they're waiting for the cheaper amount. Um, yes. So other factors can also be social and professional influence. If a celebrity endorses a certain product, people are going to want to buy that product. We see this with Nike, Adidas. They're always going to put a celebrity there because they know celebrities can pull in crowds of customers. Okay. If a doctor says a good is bad for your health, let's say they say chocolate is bad for your health. If we tend to believe professionals. So what according to what the professional has said, we are going to buy less of that good because we hear the professional say that this good is bad for you. Okay. Yes. So we need these are the concepts you need to remember from microeconomics as you are doing managerial economics. Okay, because these are, as I said, in managerial economics, you're trying to make better decisions for the business. You're trying to optimize resources, okay, and you're trying to maximize profit. So you should be aware of this thing. Okay, if income levels are high, you know that okay, here demand for our good is going to grow. We need to produce more, right? If we know what the good we're producing, we have a competitor who's selling a substitute good. We know that if we increase our price, people are going to switch. They will substitute our good for our competitor. So we're going to know. We have to, as a business, have to know how to handle that. Okay. Do you need to drop the price? You drop the price, people are going to come from your competitor and start buying your goods. Okay. If you're producing a good that is a complementary good, or is a complementary good with another good, it's used together with another good, you're going to know that then demand for your good is dependent on that other good because what you're producing is works together with another product. Okay. So if the price of your product goes up, it might affect the demand for the other product. And if the price of the other product goes up, it also affects the demand for your product. Yes.